Once again, we will discuss wet etching topic. So basically, in last video, we had discussed type of wet etching methods and different steps involved in etching, wet etching process. Okay. So one concept or is of etch rate uniformity. Okay. So why basically we want etch rate to be uniform is that if etch rate is not uniform, then we are not sure whether the structure which will be resulting after the etching is exactly the one we hoped for. Okay, like if you, as we know that in integrated circuits we deal with very fine structures, and the working of devices basically is very much dependent on their structural design and different dimensions. And if there are any errors in the structure which may arise due to the non-uniform etching, okay, can be very detrimental for the working of integrated circuit. And in fact, such ICs or such devices may actually be useless. Okay, so we want etching to be uniform. Okay, and then how do we measure or specify the uniformity of etching? Is by this formula. Okay, so it is the etching rate uniformity is expressed in percentage. Okay, and it is basically maximum. Okay, let me. Okay, maximum etch rate and maximum etch rate minus minimum etch rate, and this whole thing, this difference basically gets divided by maximum etch rate and plus minimum etch rate. So this is the expression for etch rate uniformity, and this everything is basically multiplied by 100. Is multiplied by 100 to express it in. Let me write 100 in the beginning. Okay. Okay, to express the uniformity in percentage. Okay. Okay, so why where this wet etching is used? Okay, so one example I told you is to remove oxide layers. Okay, and other than removing oxide layers, we are interested in removing nitride, silicon nitride layer. Okay, metals, polysilicons, and even third, fifth compound semiconductors as well. Okay, so there are many materials, many material layers which can be removed by use of wet etching method. Okay. Now this etching rate is not only dependent on the concentration of the etchant and temperature of the etchant, but it is somehow dependent on the orientation of the crystal. Okay, so basically what happens is when we try to etch polysilicon. Let's say we are etching polysilicon, or maybe uh, if there is a case that we have removed a top layer and beneath that silicon is present, okay, and somehow that etchant is at maybe at low rate, but it is etching the silicon, okay. So that etching of silicon and or for any other semiconductor actually depends on the crystal uh, configuration or crystal orientation of that layer also, okay. So basically the etch rate is function of etchant concentration, etchant temperature, and as well as it depends, it is function of crystal orientation also, okay. So interestingly, if you see uh, if you try to etch silicon, okay, then what happens that the ratio of etching, okay, etch rate ratio for uh, 100, okay, 110, and what is the other type crystal configuration in silicon? It is 111, okay. If you see the ratio of etch rate for these three type of configurations, crystal configurations of silicon, okay. Let me write silicon, okay. Okay, this ratio is not same for these configurations, but basically if etch rate for 100 is of the order of 100, then for 110 it is smaller etch rate, okay, and for 111 it is etch rate is 1, okay. So what we see that etch rate is 6 for 110 crystal configuration, the etch rate is 16 times of the etch rate for 111, okay. Okay, and similarly if you see 100 type crystal configuration, so what happens, the etch rate is 100 times than the etch rate for 111 silicon, okay. So basically actually क्या होता है आपका जो नंबर ऑफ जो कोवेलेंट बॉन्ड अगर आप देखो किसी क्रॉस सेक्शन में, ओके, सो वो जो नंबर ऑफ कोवेलेंट बॉन्ड्स है which etchant has to remove or has to work with while the wet etching process, okay. So that number of covalent bond is larger for 111 silicon, okay. So because this 111 silicon has largest number of density of covalent bonds in given volume, okay. So it is very difficult to etch such type of silicon, okay. So etching rate is small, okay. For edge comparatively, if you see 100 type silicon, so when etchant tries to remove the silicon which is 100 type, okay, so it finds very small number of covalent bonds or atomic density to work with, and it results in faster etch rate, okay. So this is important to note that etch rate is not only dependent on etchant's concentration, it also depends on temperature of etchant, and moreover, very interestingly, the etch rate is function of surface, which surface means whatever surface you are trying to remove, that surface is crystal orientation, okay. So this is one point to note down, okay. So now we will as we know that we have been discussing about silicon dioxide. So silicon dioxide is very often etched, okay, using wet chemical etching, and so you have to remember some of the etchants, okay. So what happens is that for etching the silicon, okay, you use for etching the silicon dioxide, okay, you use hydrofluoric acid. Okay, what is used is hydrofluoric acid. Okay, so sometimes you use hydrofluoric acid and in combination with ammonium fluoride. Okay, ammonium fluoride. So I don't have this subscript thing right now, so I don't know whether means NH. This is basically NH sub 4 and F. Okay, so I guess you understand. Okay, so this solution, which is mixture of ammonium fluoride and hydrofluoric acid, it is called as BHF. Okay, and what B means is buffered hydrofluoric acid. Okay, so buffered hydrofluoric acid. Okay, so this gives you a better etching rate for silicon dioxide. Okay, that is why it is called buffered oxide etch. Okay, okay, similarly if you see if you look into other layers, okay, if we were to remove silicon nitride, okay, so how to remove silicon nitride layer? Okay, for this again you may use concentrated HF or sometimes buffered HF. Okay, and sometimes you have phosphoric acid. Okay, boiling phosphoric acid. So, I am not very sure about, but I guess it is phosphoric acid. Okay, you may Google maybe. Okay, so you can use either hydrofluoric acid or buffered hydrofluoric acid or a boiling phosphoric acid. Okay, so this example of silicon nitride, removal of silicon nitride brings us to very interesting concept, which anyway we had to discuss. Okay, so now see what happens is let me draw a diagram. Maybe say you have got silicon and let's make an imaginary setup, and above silicon we have okay a oxide, and again above that oxide we have silicon nitride. So in IC fabrications, it may happen on many occasions that there are adjacent layers made of different materials. Okay, so what happens that issue is like if your etchant removes both type of both types of materials, okay, so that becomes the issue. Okay, अगर हम चाहते हैं कि दोनों ही मटेरियल वहां से एच हो जाएं तो तब तो ये ठीक है. Okay, but let's assume that situation is that we want our oxide to be untouched. Okay, our oxide layer to be untouched, and but we want our silicon nitride to be removed. Okay, something like this. Okay, we have got a stack of layer, silicon nitride over oxide, and oxide is over silicon. Okay, and we want to etch silicon nitride but not SiO2. Okay, so अगर हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं इस केस में हाइड्रोफ्लोरिक एसिड या फिर बफर्ड हाइड्रोफ्लोरिक एसिड अगर हम लोग यूज करें, सो वी नो दैट दिस हाइड्रोफ्लोरिक एसिड basically it removes oxide also. Okay, so when we use this hydrofluoric acid or buffered hydrofluoric acid, so what it does, it will remove both of the layers. Okay, ठीक है नहीं, ये आपका सिलिकॉन नाइट्राइड को भी रिमूव करेगा. ओके, once it has removed silicon nitride, okay, it will start working on silicon dioxide as well. Okay, if we wanted it like this to happen, then it's fine, but many times as we are making our integrated circuit systematically, okay, we do not want our HN to work this way. Okay, we want our HN to be selective. What we want is our HN to be selective. Okay, so this is one example. Okay, where let's hope that our phosphoric acid, okay, does not affect SiO2, but it affects only SiO2. Okay, so what happens when you use this boiling phosphoric acid for removing the nitride layer? So it removes your nitride layer, but the oxide layer is intact. Okay, so this way our etching becomes selective. Okay, and selective etching means our etchant is removing only the thin film which we want to remove, but the other adjacent thin films are not affected. Okay, so such property of etchant is called as selectivity. It is called as selectivity. Okay, तो जो हमारी etching process होती है इसमें हम लोगों को sufficient selectivity चाहिए होता है. If we want it to be selective, we need it to be as selective as required basically. Okay. Okay, so with this we will go to the next slide. I will rub all this off. Okay, so now we are familiar of concept of selectivity. Okay, okay, so there is a list of etchant for different type of materials. Okay, so for example, phosphoric acid H3PO4 works for aluminum layer also. Okay, okay, this will etch aluminum layer also. Okay, nitride के लिए we use mostly buffered hydrofluoric acid. We use buffered hydrofluoric acid. Okay, and then you have materials like platinum or tungsten. Okay, for these you have to use a mixture of some acids and other chemicals. Okay, for example, platinum you use a mixture of nitric acid. Okay, please bear with this something. Actually, I'm not able to put this 3 in subscript, so I hope you understand that this 3 is in subscript. Okay, and you have to use nitric acid, and this nitric acid is like 1 portion of nitric acid, which is like 1 ml, and then you have to use hydrochloric acid, Okay, and hydrochloric acid is like 7 times of the nitric acid, and then you have to have some diluent, which is water in this case. Okay, and water is like 8 portions of the water. Okay, so such mixture is used to etch the platinum layer. Okay, so there are other material layers like tungsten and so on. So every these metal layers or other materials have got their own agents. Okay, so this is a partial list for you. Okay, in this of course we know that oxide is removed by HF or buffered HF solution. Okay, so now again we will look into the another important concept which we have not discussed as of now. So that is directionality of etching. Okay, or let's say directivity or directionality of etching process. Okay. Till now we have discussed selectivity of etching. What is selectivity? That okay, your etchant should remove only the layers which are intended to be removed. Okay, and should not affect other adjacent layers. Okay, so this is your selectivity. Now we come to the topic of directionality. Okay, so we will understand it by an example. Let's have two cases. Okay, these are silicon substrates. Okay, above silicon, oh, let's draw. Here we have an oxide layer above silicon. And let's say that above oxide we have got a photoresist layer. Okay, and we have created a window to access oxide. Okay, and that window is in middle of this photoresist layer. Okay, so here we have got this is oxide layer, and above oxide we have photoresist layer. Okay, now let's say we perform etching. Okay, अब क्या बोलते हैं हम लोग अगर etching process perform करते हैं, ठीक है नहीं, so there are two type of possibilities. One possibility is okay कि जो आपका etching rate है उसका एक तो है आपका one is in vertical direction, other is in horizontal direction. Okay, so etching आपकी क्या बोलते हैं, एक तो है कि vertical direction में आपकी etching हो रही है. Okay, दूसरी आपकी etching क्या है, horizontal direction में हो रही है. Okay, so if my etching rate in vertical direction में we want it to happen. Okay, and let's say that this is the first case, and in this your etching is happening in vertical direction. Okay, as well as vertical horizontal direction as well. Okay, so what will happen, etchant will remove this material in vertical direction as well as in horizontal direction also. Okay, so what will happen, this material, or maybe I will use a black color, or maybe in this color. Okay, okay, you will find that this becomes etched like this. And why etching is happening like this? Okay, this etching is happening like this because आपका जो etching है वो आपका vertical direction में भी हो रहा है. ओके, और साथ साथ आपका हॉरिजॉन्टल डायरेक्शन में भी हो रहा है. ठीक है नहीं, तो उससे क्या होता है आपका कि जब आपका एचिंग प्रोसेस जब हो रही है, ओके, तो आपका वर्टिकली तो मटेरियल रिमूव हो रहा है. ओके, साथ साथ आपका हॉरिजॉन्टली भी मटेरियल क्या है, रिमूव हो रहा है. ओके, तो दिस टाइप ऑफ एचिंग, इसमें बेसिकली क्या आपका एक अंडर एचिंग भी हो रही है. कैसे, मतलब ओवर एचिंग हो रही है, इसमें क्या आपका एक अंडर कट जनरेट हो गया. क्या जनरेट हो गया आपका, अंडर कट. अंडर कट मतलब आपका जो एचिंग है, जो आपके ऑक्साइड लेयर था, वो आप चाहते थे कि केवल एग्जैक्टली इस एरिया से वर्टिकली रिमूव. ओके, बट हुआ क्या, आपका जो ऑक्साइड है वो फोटोरेसिस्ट के नीचे से भी रिमूव हो गया. ओके, so your oxide layer gets removed vertically and as well as horizontally. Okay, so this results in a undercut, okay, underneath the photoresist layer. Okay, so this is a problematic thing. Okay, okay, and this is happening because your etching is happening in vertical as well as horizontal direction. So etch rate is let's say uniform or significant in every direction. Okay, तो इस टाइप का एचिंग होता है, इसको हम लोग बोलते हैं आइसोट्रोपिक एचिंग. क्या बोलते हैं इसे हम लोग, इसे हम लोग बोलते हैं आइसोट्रोपिक एचिंग. ओके, आइसोट्रोपिक एचिंग मतलब which is like omnidirectional, which is happening in all direction. Okay, तो ये जो आइसोट्रोपिक एचिंग है, this is not required actually. We wanted a perfect vertical cut. ठीक है नहीं. Okay, for example this is the second case. Second case में we call it anisotropic anisotropic etching. Okay, anisotropic etching is good and it is what we want. ठीक है नहीं? Then you will see that it has got high directivity or let's say good directivity or good directionality in etching process. Okay, whereas if you see this isotropic etching, in this you see that your directionality is poor. Okay, poor directivity. Okay, so what we want is we want our etching to be anisotropic etching. Okay, so our requirement from etching process is that it should be anisotropic. Okay, so this is a good etching which has got directionality, and this is a in this case it does not have any directionality and it becomes isotropic. Okay, it becomes isotropic etching. Okay, so this is the case of isotropic etching and this is the case of anisotropic etching. Okay, so with this I will conclude this lecture, and in this lecture we have discussed some of the etchants used for removing materials like silicon oxide, silicon nitride, aluminum. Okay, and further we have discussed very two important concepts. One is directionality of etching, or which is also called directivity. Okay, directionality of etching, and second is selectivity and directivity. Okay, so a good etching process or an ideal etching process is which is directional as well as selective. Okay, जो मतलब मटेरियल्स के बीच में which is selective, like अगर हम लोग एक मटेरियल को रिमूव करना चाह रहे हैं तो it should not interfere with the adjacent material layers. Okay, and also it should remove the intended layer at good etch rate, but it should not affect the adjacent neighboring material layers. Okay, so that is good selectivity. And second property is directionality. Okay, so directionality wise we want our etching to be such that कि हमारी etching process में क्या हो, directionality हो, etching केवल vertical direction में हो, and there is no horizontal etching, and if there is no horizontal etching we will have perfect vertical windows being cut through the material layers. Okay, so a good etching process, ideal etching process is the one which will have very good selectivity and very good directivity, but that is not the case. Practically what happens is we have two type of etching, as you know. One is wet chemical etching, second is dry etching. Okay, so if you see which I will be discussing. Okay, if you see wet etching, okay, it is selective, but poor directivity. Okay, similarly if you see dry etching, okay, it has good directivity, but poor selectivity. I will quickly explain these things. Wet etching में क्या होता है कि आपका जो etching है, it depends on the composition of etchant. तो ये पॉसिबिलिटी है कि आपका एचेंट क्या है, एक लेयर को रिमूव करे और वो जो एचेंट का कंपोजिशन है वो दूसरे लेयर के साथ केमिकल रिएक्शन ना करे. ओके, तो उस केस में आपका जो वेट एचिंग है वो सिलेक्टिव है. लेकिन इसकी डायरेक्टिविटी पुअर है, क्योंकि कई बार मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम क्या होता है, जो केमिकल रिएक्शन की स्पीड है, जो एचिंग का रेट है, इट विल नॉट डिपेंड ऑन डायरेक्शन, और सभी डायरेक्शन में आपका क्या होगा, एचिंग होगा. ओके, सो एचिंग विल हैपन इन ऑल डायरेक्शन in case of wet etching. Whereas in case of dry etching, because basically dry etching you use plasma or sputtering, so basically you are doing bombarding. So bombarding, when you do bombarding, so bombarding will happen in vertical direction, so material will be removed from the wherever those ions or those bombarding entities could strike the surface. Okay, okay, but it is not selective. Okay, those ions and those bombarding agents will remove everything. Okay, so such dry etching method has got good directivity but poor selectivity. Okay, so with this we will conclude, and hope we will discuss this topic in greater detail in the next lecture. Okay.